Welcome to #Adulting, your one-stop shop to help you get your shit together in the 4 areas of life plaguing you most.
Food and fitness,
sex and dating,
mental and emotional health,
and money and business management. I'm Zack Peter, the sassy self-improvement addict, wellness enthusiast, and host, spewing all those burning questions you're too afraid to ask.
I'm Abigail Fraher, a boss babe who daylights as a lifestyle guru and fashion maven.
And I'm Nikki Sharp, your go-to wellness expert, best-selling author, motivational speaker, and all-around fitness fanatic. Together, we're helping you truly live your best life because this is adulting at its finest.
All right, everybody, welcome back to #Adulting. I'm Zack Peter.
And I'm Abigail Fraher.
And we're really excited. We're going to learn a lot today. Today's guest is a hunky health expert whose new book is going to help us cut down inflammation and hopefully maybe kind of make us look a little skinnier, because I'm always down for that. He's a contributor for Mind Body Green, a contributor for Goop. He's the host of Goop Fellas, and he's hella smart. Please welcome Dr. Will Cole.
What's up, guys? This is going to be good.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I love this city.
Yeah? You lived in LA for a minute, didn't you?
Yeah, I used to live out here. But I live in Pittsburgh now. But I could be anywhere.
Quite a change. I'm from Cleveland, so I understand.
Sweet.
Are you from Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I love Cleveland.
I do too.
Hey.
I like it more now that I'm not living there. I'm like, I go back, I'm like, this is so cute. I love it. Then I fly back to LA.
Yeah. The winters are brutal, but
horrible.
But I could be anywhere. I consult patients online, so I could be anywhere. But my family's there, my team's there. That's where we're settled.
Sweet. So you have a new book out. It's called The Inflammation Spectrum, Find Your Food Triggers and Reset Your System, which I'm so excited to chat with you about because I've been reading it and I've been trying to figure out what are my triggers and try to cut them out without like hating myself for cutting them out because I'm addicted to some of them. But before we dive deep into them, we want you to play our fun segment, Espresso Yourself.
So basically, I start a sentence off, you finish it for me.
Okay.
Breaks the ice, helps the audience know you a little bit better.
Cool.
So the first one is, I can't start my day without.
Earl Grey tea.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you a question. So is that like for health reasons? Like, what are the health reasons? Tell me about why that's your choice.
Yeah, because he has me obsessed with Earl Grey tea now.
I know.
Zack knows my Earl Grey
Like,
ways.
if you drink it, I need to be drinking it,
Yeah.
I feel like.
So I love the taste of it. So it's a
Okay.
black tea with bergamot, sometimes like lavender scent notes in it. But it's for health reasons. So bergamot is a citrus from Calabria in Italy. And in the research, it's been shown to enhance something called autophagy, which is cellular recycling. It's basically our body's anti-aging mechanism. So look younger, anti-disease pathways, so lowered inflammation levels. And intermittent fasting does that too. Enhances autophagy. So I'm marrying the IF, the intermittent fasting, with...
You do intermittent fasting?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I typically will just drink the Earl Grey tea or green tea in the morning.
See, I love that he like talks about what is it, autophagy? He's like autophagy, but also for like those people that don't get
like,
it, it makes you look
Asian,
younger, and
right?
like he like breaks it down for you in a way that
I
like
love
you're like,
that.
okay, I can get it.
Next is, I feel sexiest when.
I'm at peace with myself.
Okay. Again, we're getting all these wholesome.
Do you meditate a lot, or like where do you find that peace? Can I get it on Amazon?
How much is it?
Amazon Prime, it'll be there in a day or two. Just like inner body awareness, not to sound too like esoteric, but Eckhart Tolle talks about that just being in your body and being accepting of where you're at this point in your life. That's when I feel the most confident and comfortable.
Okay. I like that. When I go to the gym,
Typically, I'll do like a burst training circuit, or I love my Peloton bike, which isn't in the gym. But
You're like super into the Peloton. I see that on your Instagram story all the time.
Do you do that daily, the Peloton?
Most days, not every day.
Okay.
Like most days I would do it, and it's fun. It's like, it's a cool...
Like, I love SoulCycle, so I feel like I need to just...
Oh, I
how
love
much you pay there? Like, buy a bike.
Buy a
right?
bike. But you have a subscription on Peloton. But to me, it's like, it's nice because it's in your house. You don't have to like drive and like park and all this stuff. I can just
Nothing gets in the way of it. You have no excuse.
Yeah, no excuse. Get it done, and you have so much more time.
Are you doing a lot of T-Mac Fitness?
I am. I have to give T-Mac a shout out for sure. His YouTube videos, his subscription. I love it because he does like a 20-minute burst training.
Okay.
And I use a lot of the principles that he teaches in his class. For people that don't, T-Mac, Todd McCauley, he's a friend of mine and he's a trainer. And he has these videos online where he does a 20-minute burst training and ends it with yoga and meditation. Oh. And he marries like burst training meditation, yoga, which I think is a good balance.
Yeah.
You would like his videos. I like doing
Would
his
I?
videos in the mornings.
Okay, I'll
Because then
have
you
to-
can like do them from home and you don't like have to go to the gym.
Right.
And it's
Or
20
like when you're
minutes.
traveling, yeah, it's 20
Yeah,
minutes and
that's
it's a full
awesome.
workout.
Yeah.
Okay. And
I mean,
with
you're
burst
left, like,
training, is that similar
so
to HIIT?
sore.
Or
Yeah,
like
same
what is
thing.
it? Okay, okay.
Same thing.
I was like, is there something new? Fuck.
No. Same thing. Same thing. Yeah.
But you're going to be left like so sore. Like
Oh,
my
I'm
thighs
excited.
are
Okay.
like burning the next day
Yeah?
when I do a T-Mac workout.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get on that tomorrow morning. I most feel like a boss when I
Mm. How do I feel like a boss? I just always feel like a boss.
it's just like it's just
It's
instinctive.
who I am.
Okay.
I just feel like I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like a boss. I am a boss. I run things.
Good. See, look at that. All right.
You got your practice, you got your
Done.
supplements, you
Yeah.
got you're a dad.
I'm
Own
a
it.
dad. Dads are bosses.
They are.
Moms are bosses.
They are.
I
Parents
thought
are
you would have
bosses.
brought Solomon with you.
My son is here. He's with my in-laws or my wife's from here, so he's spending some time with his papa in the mountains somewhere.
Aw,
Yeah.
Somewhere. You're like, just I get a break.
He's
it's
in a
fine.
cabin
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so I want to start off by talking about food allergies because everybody in Los Angeles has food allergies, Dr. Wilcole. Everybody's allergic to gluten. But in your book, you talk about the differences between allergies, intolerance, and sensitivities. Can you break down what each of those are and how
Sure.
we can classify them with our own intolerances or allergies? Or
Yeah, you're right. Those are terms that people use interchangeably, but they are different. And to a certain degree, it's semantics in the sense of I'm having some reaction to food. So the big umbrella would be food reactivities. The way that it operates, the different pathways in the body are the different. So allergies is an immune-mediated problem, meaning the immune system's reacting to this food. Typically, it's an immediate response. It's more of a when I eat something, I have that allergy pretty quickly afterwards, and that could be skin rashes, hives, obviously anaphylaxis, like trouble breathing. It could be digestive problems, a wide variety of allergies. They can be more life-threatening, right? People need EpiPens for those sort of severe allergies. Then there are sensitivities, which are immune-mediated, just like the allergies, but they are more low grade oftentimes, even though they can be significant, but they're not going to be life-threatening. But the immune system's still being irritated. It still largely has to do with the gut because that's where 75% of our immune system lives, and with the microbiome. And you can have the same sort of problems: brain fog, fatigue, some anxiety, digestive problems, skin problems with sensitivities. And then there are intolerances. So intolerances are, by its definition, not immune-mediated. They're like an enzyme deficiency. So someone that's lactose intolerant is lacking lactase. And, obviously with other intolerances too. So they all kind of create problems. People don't feel good when they have some of these, but they are technically different. So I wanted to make that clear in the book.
And so what are like symptoms? Because we know like with food allergies, like there are the rashes or you go into anaphylactic shock. What are some of the symptoms of intolerances or sensitivities that we might be able to recognize right away?
And this is the heart of the inflammation spectrum. It exists on a continuum. Almost every health problem out there is inflammatory in some way. Almost all of them. So when you're dealing with autoimmune issues, that's obviously overtly inflammatory in most cases. But then you get the more like serious ones in people's minds. And let me just be clear on that. Autoimmune conditions are serious too. But to the layperson that is not in the autoimmune world, people that I spend my life with consulting them, they don't realize the severity of autoimmunity, and that's a problem. And hopefully the book can illuminate that. But beyond autoimmunity, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, those are inflammatory too. And then even the mental health issues, I find that most people don't know, and understandably so, but anxiety and depression and fatigue and brain fog, the research shows those are inflammatory as well. So we have to understand why people are going through what they're going through, we have to understand inflammation when it comes to health problems. So what can inflammation look like, or what can these food reactivities or food sensitivities look like? It depends on the person. And I'm not insinuating that food is the culprit for all of those problems, but food is oftentimes, in most cases, a major component to it, meaning every food we eat is either feeding inflammation or fighting it.
Okay.
So it's not like there's no benign food. There's no like neutral Switzerland meal. It's doing one or the other. And there's ones that are doing it in big ways. There's ones that are doing it in small ways in one way or the other. So food's a major component. And we can use food as medicine, as Hippocrates said, the father of medicine. He said, let food be thy medicine and medicine thy food. He also said all disease begins in the gut. And now we're understanding that a lot of these health problems are lifestyle driven, meaning even if it's not the cause of it, it's at least a perpetuator, an aggravator, an amplifier, or an improver of these health problems.
Is gluten ever good for us?
Is gluten ever good?
He's so focused on gluten.
You
I
want
love
that
it,
gluten,
right?
Zach?
He's like, but can I eat it?
But I don't eat gluten. Abigail knows I'm
I
very
know, he really doesn't.
anti-gluten.
Yeah, he is.
Is gluten ever good for us? So gluten, I don't think is the problem by itself. It's oftentimes, in most cases, what we've done to it. So we've hybridized wheat, we've crossbred wheat, we spray it with glyphosate. That it's really we messed it up more than anything else. Because you go to Europe or you go to other countries, they don't have the problems that we have. And if they are having it, often I believe they're getting it in part because of the importing of food and the way that the world kind of ships things across. We live in a small world in many ways, a global economy. So I think that's the problem more than wheat itself. Because if you look like in ancient times at these ancient wheat, that looks different, the einkorn wheat. It's the mismatch between genetics and epigenetics. So our genetics haven't changed in like 10,000 years. But yet look at our food supply.
Food has changed so much, right?
In like 100 years.
Is there a type of wheat to look for, a type of bread like that we have access to that would be something that would be
never do
easier
it.
for him?
Yeah, I would say like
for him.
for me. Is he gonna be okay?
Is he gonna be all right, Zachy?
Let's find him that wheat. I would say if you're looking for einkorn, which ask me to spell it. It's AYNK, something like that. Just look up for ancient grains.
Okay.
Ancient wheat. That's better tolerated by a lot of people. And I break that down in the inflammation spectrum because there are more tolerated forms of these grains.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can get like sourdough bread.
I love sour. That's really the only bread I eat.
And that makes it more
Easier to
digestible.
digest,
As you
yeah.
order a sandwich from Jack in the Box on a
I
sourdough
don't.
bread.
I actually don't eat Jack in the Box. Ever. It's
How about
disgusting.
In-N-Out? Do you like In-N-Out?
I get the protein style.
I've done that before.
It's so good. Although the
Why?
fries.
What's wrong with In-N-Out?
Well, I'm just saying that the
Just
bread.
The bread.
Oh,
protein
yeah,
style.
no.
Yeah. Protein style.
Yeah, I always do protein.
But I do eat like I like again. I'm gonna shout out the gluten-free pizza from Fresh Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
I do like that, but most other stuff, like if I'm gonna eat bread, it's probably gonna have gluten in it, or just not eat it at
Go
all.
big or go home, right?
Right. If you're gonna do it, is everybody's is there a specific set of food? Because you said it either hinders or it helps fight inflammation. Is that the same across the board for people, or does it vary?
It varies in
Very small
severity.
Okay.
It varies in severity. So the analogy that I use is a glass. You know, some people have big glasses like cups. Some people have small glasses. Our glass sizes are genetic tolerance or capability to handle stressors.
Okay.
Some people can have all this stuff that I'm saying can be inflammatory. It may not be inflammatory for them. The heart of the book is finding out what your body loves, what your body hates, instead of just thinking like because you heard it on a podcast or because you read it in an article that it applies to you.
Okay.
It's bio-individuality, and I know consulting patients, what works for one person may not be right for you. But genetic tolerances are the cup sizes or the glass sizes. We can't change our glass size, but we can change what we put in it.
Okay.
And some people are sensitive to almost everything. And some people aren't.
Okay.
And some people are stressing about their eating, and that's causing the problem.
All right, guys, we're going to take a very quick break to talk to you about our pals at Hum Nutrition. You know how much we love Hum Nutrition.
We love them.
Love
They're
Hum.
even in our building.
They're even in our building
That's
that we
how
tape
much
this
we're
at.
stalking them.
We're stalking them. We went to their Hum HQ and we
Yeah,
like stocked up
so
on our
cute.
vitamins, which are so yummy. I love the Hair Sweet Hair gummies.
Yep.
Obsessed with the Hair Sweet Hair gummies. I take them all the time. They're
They work. Look how fast your hair's going.
Yeah, look at that. I even posted on my Instagram that has a whole video that you can see like how fast my hair grew and how big and bellowy it is.
It is. It's gorgeous. It's
Yeah.
nice and fluffy.
We love it. We have glow sweet. I'm a sucker for gummies, so I love
You are,
hair
yeah,
sweet hair and
yeah.
I love glow sweet.
I
Glow.
do love the gummies. I take them every morning. I mean, we'll see. I just chopped it, so
I like
it's
the little bomb onion,
healthy. And the flatter me, love.
Oh, the flatter me enzymes. Yeah.
Yes,
They're so
I
great.
take that with my 2 meals a day.
I love that they have such a variety of different supplements that
Yeah.
you can take, but yet they're all focused on like this beauty from within to like make you
100%.
look good and feel good from the inside
100%.
out.
And with all the fires we've been having, the detox one
Oh,
I've been taking,
yes,
and that's
daily
really been helping.
cleanse.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. They have a whole plethora of vitamins that you're going to love. So you're going to want to go and check them out. Go to humnutrition.com. And if you want 20% off, you can use code adulting because that's what you're going to be doing when you're checking out Hum Nutrition.
Right?
Adulting.
Take your vitamins. Be an adult.
Be an adult. Take your vitamins. Look cute doing so too.
Exactly.
And their branding is like super friggin' dope.
Yep.
Yeah, go to humnutrition.com and use code adulting for that 20% off right now. So we know each other through our work in the autism community. And so with autism, one thing that I learned, especially as it relates back to gluten and dairy, is that like a lot of these individuals who have an allergy or an intolerance to gluten and dairy, their body is actually very dependent on it. Can you explain why that is and how the foods that are bad for us, our body craves more of?
Yeah, absolutely. So
this is like my dating pattern. Like I'm attracted to guys that are like bad for me, but like I can't quit it.
it's a drug.
It's a drug.
But these foods can act like a drug in many ways. So there's different lectins, which I know is a buzzword thanks to Dr. Gundry, but there are lectins, which are proteins in these plant foods. And there's one specifically called wheat germ agglutinin, and there are different types of these proteins in wheat specifically that research shows that there's some people with these different genetic SNPs and different biochemistry variances that respond to it like an opioid. It's almost like a drug for the brain, the drug for their immune system. So coming off of it, they can have these sort of Herxheimer detox responses because their body is withdrawing from these foods. That's one mechanism. The other mechanism is we are, as a culture, addicted to sugar, and we are providing our fuel. So when you take the kindling off the fire comes down. But there is an alternative, and that's burning fat for fuel and putting a log on the fire. But people that aren't are just like cutting off of sugar, and carbs and grains are a breakdown into sugar. So they're addicted to sort of the carby sugar intake because that's what they need to like avoid the hangriness. But so there's two components to that. One is that people are on a blood sugar roller coaster and have a problem with sugar burning, and the other one could be it's the sugar and the protein could be a problem.
So how do we know where on the inflammation spectrum we fall? Like, how do I know where to pinpoint Abigail?
Yeah.
And tell her how
What
to fix
cup
her
size do I have?
I was saying cup size of different podcasts, and it was a problem. I kept saying it, and I have like this innocent mind, and then they're like, Dr. Cole, quit saying cup size. Like glass cup. All right. All right. Me with my horrible
throw you off
analogy.
there.
What was the question?
How do we
How do
know,
you know?
what are
Right.
the indicators to determine where on the inflammation spectrum we fall?
All right, so there's two ways, subjectively and objectively. Subjectively, just tune in with your body. How's your digestion? How's your energy? How's your hair and nails and skin? Specifically, I honed it in the inflammation spectrum book so people can go through the quiz. People like quizzes, and the quiz is adapted.
Love a quiz.
Yeah, people. I adapted the questions from the questions that I ask my patients. So the quiz and the book are just functional medicine questions to get like sort of a diagnostic perspective on where do I fall on the inflammation spectrum.
Okay.
Is it low grade? Is it high grade? Is it impacting more my brain? Is it impacting more my hormones, my digestion, my musculoskeletal system, my detox system? And they can find out where they reside on the inflammation spectrum. That's subjectively, or getting a health history from a functional medicine doctor. Secondly would be objectively, and that's running labs. So we would look at these different inflammatory proteins and inflammatory markers in the body, looking at the gut-centric inflammation, then looking at the genetic component too, which is fascinating, of people that just genetically are more sensitive to these foods and reactions and inflammation.
Okay, let's do a
I
little
wanna do
quiz.
that.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
like,
do it. Let's do it with Abigail right now, because
Oh.
I'm always in the hot seat. I always put my shit out there, so we're gonna put you in the hot seat
All
today.
right, let's do it.
Okay, so what are some of the questions that are in the book that you ask people?
Okay, so let's talk. I think we can start with, let's talk about hormones. I think that's good.
Okay.
So these are some questions that are in the book in the hormone section. One is, are the outer third of your eyebrows thinning? sometimes people have to look in a mirror for this.
I
Oh,
mean,
like out
yeah.
here, they're
Well,
thinning.
Well, are they thinning or
they
they're
look
thin?
good.
They're thin.
but the
but
outer
they should
third
be.
specifically.
I guess
Yeah. If you're,
they've always been thinner though.
okay. Yours
Was that
yours
just
look fine.
thinner
Your-
or thinning? Those are two
thinning.
different things too. So no, my brows aren't
your
thinning.
eyebrows look fine.
They're there. There's no pencil on them today either.
Wow, we really put you on the
yeah,
spot.
we
I'm
really
sorry.
did. Shit.
It's getting real right now. It just basically the outer third of your eyebrows could be a sign of thyroid issues being off.
Okay.
And
What is the inner third?
The
Or the
outer
outer
third.
third.
this
So-
part.
Oh,
You divide
okay,
it
so
into
just the
3 and it'd be
ends.
that.
Yeah,
the
the outer
end.
third.
Oh, my grandpa's lost all of them. He's probably really jacked up.
But you have a family history of autoimmune conditions.
Yeah.
So,
Zach's looks good though.
I mean, they're filled in.
and I have a family history of autoimmune conditions too.
Okay.
So I have autoimmune thyroid issues like Hashimoto's disease on both sides of my family. I don't have it thankfully, but other people in my family do.
Okay.
And these are typically X chromosome linked issues. People with autoimmune conditions women tend to have higher rates of it, but it gets passed on through the family and can be triggered by these epigenetic things like food and toxins and stress and things like
Yeah.
that. So that's one question. Second one would
Okay.
be, do you crave salt?
Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Do you get dizzy when you stand up from
Yes.
okay.
Like I'm like, oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
Do you get tired in the afternoon and get a second wind?
I think it depends on the day, but yeah.
Okay. Do you have to nap, or do you probably don't
I
have time to
can't
nap?
nap, but I love napping.
Yeah.
I love I love a good nap. But no, I can't nap during the day.
Okay. Do you if you miss a meal, do you get like irritable or?
So I'm doing the intermittent fasting
Oh,
as
good.
well now. So I don't eat from 9 p.m. till 1 p.m. the next day.
Okay.
So I don't know how I would know that
Yeah,
with
right.
skipping. a
Well, it
meal,
seems like
'cause
you're
I
leaned
guess-
into it.
yeah.
Could you do that overnight, or do you worked your way into being able to go that window of fasting?
I just started. I was like, we're done eating and not like
Cold turkey
just gonna
start.
just do it. Yeah, it was a little difficult, but I feel like I'm sleeping for a decent amount of that
Yeah,
time.
that's true.
I go to bed at 10.
Yeah.
Try to, and I get up at 6. So it's not like
A
horrific.
couple hours, yeah.
But
yeah. So I mean, then we can go. I don't want to get too personal, but we talk
Yeah.
about we talk
Well,
about.
well, she didn't give good
Yeah.
answers. My answer was yes
What?
to all of those.
Just-
Yeah. I
Oh,
get
you're-
hangry.
Okay.
I get tired during the day. I need to take naps. Like,
Yeah.
so what does that mean?
So maybe you're higher on the inflammation spectrum and she's
oh,
lower.
great.
I'm
I
not.
wanted
feel
you to
like-
be
I
in the
don't know.
hot
I
seat.
know. You're like, I need to get this book though. So I
And
can
I'm the
figure
one
it
that
out
like
because-
eats salads
Yeah,
all the time.
right?
And, like,
And I'm like,
it takes a million supplements.
It's bio-individuality,
It's
guys. 'Cause some
bio-individual,
people
yeah.
can handle more stuff, some people can.
Yeah.
So it's just not about, because honestly, most of my patients are very well-read people. They
Yeah.
do a lot,
Yeah.
but they're still struggling. So this is not like,
And is stress highly related to these?
Stress is-
Because I feel
yeah.
like that's where my like issue is. Like I
It's
gain
not-
weight when I'm stressed, not
Mhm.
even because I'm eating different. Like I just like it just
it's not
appears.
just food.
Okay.
The other things that I talk about in the book are stress.
Yeah.
And not just the Instagram like fluffy, like don't stress, like zen out. It's
No,
like
like
actual
legitimate- yeah.
practices to
Yeah.
cultivate stillness in your life.
Yeah.
And toxins, and that's a big umbrella, but like the different things that we're using on our skin, in our home, cleaning products,
Sure.
things like that. And our relationship with technology, looking at screen time, looking at social media addiction, looking at social disconnection because of that.
That's like what we were talking about earlier in our other episode. Like you're probably really healthy with your food, but like your screen time is
Oh,
probably
yeah.
fucked. And I'm like trying to get better with my screen time. I'm still healthy with my food. I just eat gluten, Zach.
No food shaming here.
No food shaming.
It's a safe place.
Safe place. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break to talk about one of our favorite pals, and that's HelloFresh.
Hello.
Oh, HelloFresh. I love HelloFresh because they are delicious and their food is so easy to make,
So
especially if you're
easy.
not like a great chef. Like they have all of these, like the guides that they send you have
Yep.
like pictures, all of the ingredients are pre-measured for you. Like everything is already set up to like
you can
set
like
you up to
throw
succeed.
it in like you're on a TV like cooking show, looking like you know what you're doing in front of your guests.
Yeah, it's like it's so. Yeah, I did it on my Instagram. I was like,
You
"Hi
did, you
guys,
look so
and
cute."
welcome to my cooking show."
Sponsored by Hello Fresh.
Sponsored by Hello Fresh. No, I mean these meal like you can prep them and like get everything ready in like less than 30 minutes. Like it's so simple.
Yes.
And the fact that everything is pre-measured, you don't have to worry about like over spicing something or
Exactly.
under spicing something. They send
it's
you
gonna
everything
be
you need.
delicious. You can also do add-ons, which I like. That's a new feature. So you can get like dessert add-ons or garlic bread add-ons.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if mom and pops are coming into town, or like you have a friend's giving or a friend's
Adjust.
dinner, you can
Yeah.
change how many servings.
Friendsgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Thanksgiving to do
No,
Friendsgiving. You can do
doesn't.
Friendsgiving anytime
Friendsgiving.
because you're just like,
Sunday
I'm just
nights.
grateful AF. Yes. Yes. Sunday nights, you're doing it with HelloFresh.
Right.
Okay. What is our special promo for them, Abigail?
It's Adulting 9. You get 9 meals for free, guys. 9
What?
meals for free.
9 meal. Who doesn't want free food?
That's over 1 free meal a day. Over
9
a week.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
I love, you know what I love? I love their pork chops, which I didn't think I would, but I actually really love their pork chops.
Yes. And everything, all their meat is so, like, it's good.
Fresh.
It's fresh. They have veggie options.
Hello, Fresh.
You could use 2 of those free meals for lunch and go into the office balling out. And everyone's like, whoa, what are you heating up over there? And you're like, I made it last night.
I made this. Boom. I had my friend Sabrina over and I made her like steak and potatoes. And I was like, boom, look at this. You a boss at my house tonight.
We eating steak.
We eating steak, girl. All right, guys. If you want 9 free meals, that's 9. I can.
How many fingers?
That's 9 free meals in your kitchen. Then you're going to want to go to hellofresh.com/adulting9 because that's how many free meals you're getting.
Easy to remember.
Easy to remember. hellofresh.com/adulting9. And don't forget to use code adulting9 so you get all 9 of those free meals.
Do it.
Go right now. Is there one diet that you think works really well for everybody? Or like
I've heard
how
the
do we
Mediterranean
determine?
diet's
Yeah.
like the best. Is that true?
Yeah, like,
Mediterranean diets do have a lot of research around them, and I don't think that there's going to be very few people in the functional medicine community or like the food as medicine community that would say healthy fish, having good vegetables are going to be good for most people, especially compared to the standard American diet.
Okay.
The goal of the Inflammation Spectrum book is to whatever paradigm you choose to eat. If you want to be keto, if you want to be paleo, if you want to be more plant-based, if you want to be more carnivorous, what's the best foods under that paradigm that works best for you?
So it breaks it down.
Breaks it down. So, for example, like my first book was Ketotarian. It's a mostly plant-based ketogenic book.
Okay.
But I know some people that don't do well with nuts and seeds, but that's a plant-based keto food. I know some people that don't do well with eggs. That's a vegetarian keto option in Ketotarian. Some people don't do well with eggs. So how can they do Ketotarian if they choose to do that in a way that works for their body? That's what Inflammation Spectrum is. It's not about a food dogma. It's just about like how can you eat that makes you feel amazing.
Is there like one thing across the board that you say should be in everyone's diet and one thing that you are sure should not be? Like what are
Gluten.
those 2? Besides gluten.
I would say one would be healthy fats is something that everybody should be having to some degree.
Okay.
Some people can handle a lot of it. Some people need to have less of it. Some people need to have more of it. A lot of people need to have more of it. But those are things like avocados, olives, avocado oil, olive oil.
So not bacon.
Well, yeah, I would say I wouldn't focus too much on the bacon.
Okay.
But you can get like grass-fed bacon, and there's a place for that. I wouldn't have that as a predominant source of your. I haven't seen that serve anybody.
CrossFitters love it.
They do, and the carnivore movement, they like a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah.
But there's a right way to do a carnivore diet too when it's appropriate and it's a specific period of time to use it as an elimination diet approach. But even then, you're doing it more of a clean way, and that's how I would advocate it for patients. And the things to avoid across the board would be sugar, but we all have different tolerances to that.
Yeah.
Some people can have more of it than less. Some people are more insulin resistant. Some people are more insulin sensitive. So even that's like not all or nothing. And that's same with healthy fats too. It's not all or nothing. There is a gradient even with that. Because for example, avocados are higher in what are called a FODMAP, a fermentable sugar. Some people with SIBO, something called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, shouldn't have too much avocados. There's so much bioindividuality. And on one end, it like overwhelms people because they're like, what the heck is right for me? And that's why I wrote the book. But even I don't want to stress anybody out. Focus on real foods. Keep it simple at first. And if you need to lean into these things, lean into them. I don't want everybody to sort of worrying about all these little small nuancy things because stressing about eating healthy isn't good for your health either.
What about supplements? I feel like you go to Erewhon, you go to Whole Foods, and there's a whole inflammation section of supplements, and
Yeah.
it's like just take this, and then you can eat whatever you want. Is that the case? Because I feel like there's a mentality that you can just take a supplement and like you're good.
Yeah. Well, supplements are, when it comes down to it, if they're good supplements, they're food based. A lot of them would have been used in traditional societies for thousands of years. We just have them in a capsule form or in a bucket form, and people can scoop it and put it in their, lattes. But you cannot supplement your way out of a poor diet. You cannot think that a scoop of something is going to undo breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
It's just not. Is it a
Really a point.
modulator of your biochemistry? Yes. Will you see changes improving even if you don't change your diet? I've seen that. I've seen non-compliant patients feel better from supplements. But then my mind goes to, well, how much more would they feel better if they actually changed the bulk of
Sure.
what's feeding and instructing their biochemistry? Because every food we eat is instructing our biochemistry. Every food we eat is, as we said earlier, feeding inflammation or fighting it.
Are you familiar with Dr. Kelly Brogan?
Yes.
What do you think about her approach to treating mental health?
I think she's a pioneer in the space.
Do you think that there's something to the connection between like our lifestyle choices and the food that we're consuming, and that's connection to this epidemic of mental health?
There's no denying it. I talk about it in the inflammation spectrum. There's a whole field of research called the cytokine model of cognitive function. Basically, how does inflammation impact how our brain works? So when you look at anxiety and depression and fatigue, brain fog, ADD, ADHD, autism, other neurological issues, this is not just my opinion or Kelly Brogan's opinion. You can look on PubMed and see these inflammatory connections to these health problems. Does that mean that everybody that has mental health problems, this is a problem? No, there's obviously external components too, situational anxiety, situational depression, where it is a stressful life or a loss of a loved one. That's not what Kelly Brogan's saying. The media likes to pick up little things, take them out of
media.
context.
Right, the media.
And media is not one person, right? It's like
Right.
just
Yeah.
we live in a sensational culture that likes tribal wars
Yeah.
and clickbait. Tribal wars really are good for clickbait, and they like pitting people against each other. So what Kelly Brogan's saying isn't radical when it comes to that. Food, absolutely. I see on almost hourly basis of how food impacts our mental health. And for people that don't know, our brain is in our body. So it's part of our body. So the foods we eat definitely instructs biochemistry, and that's just well researched.
I love it. Do you think that there's a missing link? I think, again, we talked about how, food and fitness and even now self-care seems to be like a really important pillar of health. But do you think that there's something that we're not paying attention to that's really contributing to either inflammation or just an unhealthy disease?
You're saying other than food?
Other than like food
Like
and
on the
other
outside.
than like the traditional ones, like we know food and fitness and like, do a CBD bath bomb on a Sunday night for self-care.
Yeah.
Is there something that you think that's missing, that that we're neglecting and maybe not paying attention to?
Yeah, I would say some like good things that are very overlooked, but yet so paramount to health is sleep. Restorative sleep. And I know we all know that. Like, yes,
Yeah.
duh, it's like sleep. But its reality is it's so, should be so respected. But it's like, well, like, but I want to be on my phone later. But I want to catch up on the shows. Or but I'm like out too late. And that's just quantity of sleep, let alone the quality of sleep. Because we are staring at these blue lights on our screens, impacting the quality of our
Does it
sleep.
take like with getting like REM sleep or whatever? Does it take us longer to get to that point now because of the blue light? So like, let's say, what's the best amount of time to sleep? Like
I would
7.5
say,
hours?
yeah, 7 to 9 hours,
Okay,
depending
so
on the person.
If you're getting 8 hours of sleep, but you're like staring, like you're Zack, right? And you're staring at your phone, like in bed, and then whatever. Does it take you like an hour to get that better point of sleep? So then in reality, you're really only getting like 7 hours of good sleep instead of the 8, or like what?
Yeah,
does that look like?
I definitely.
Sorry, I know that's like a complex question.
Yeah, it's impacting our circadian rhythm. So it depends
Okay.
on going back to that glass size, not the cup size.
Yeah.
We are seeing what the genetic tolerance is. Some people can treat their body a lot worse, but still get by, and if their body's not
Okay.
impacted that in the same way.
Okay.
But some people do not have that genetic resilience or biochemistry resilience, and they kind of have to be a little bit more gentle on their body, give their body more R&R in many ways. So yeah, definitely impacting them. I do feel like we need to clean up our sleep hygiene in a way. I think blue light blocking glasses, you use them, or have you, right?
He does.
Yeah,
I
so
was just joking.
but I think those are awesome, and they have different apps where you can make the screens like blue light blocking.
Yeah, I have that too.
Yeah. So there's different ways your phone's telling you to
And
do
my
that.
phone, I
Your
know,
phone-
seriously,
your
it
phone
was a
doesn't
sign.
like it.
It was
It's
a
like,
sign.
no,
It's
pay
like,
attention
Don't
to
turn me
me.
off. Don't turn me off.
freak out. Do you have a screen cover like that on your phone? blue light
Well, I
blocking?
have the setting on my iPhone. Don't they? They have a
Oh.
setting now where I have it set
I'm
between
just too
7.
old.
I have it set between 7, or maybe I think it's 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. or something like
That
that.
it's a blue light block.
Yeah,
Okay.
I should probably update
You're gonna have to
it.
show me that.
I didn't do it. It did it by itself. I don't know how to use my phone.
We'll Google it.
So we like to end every conversation with our top 3 takeaways from what we just discussed. Do you want to kick it off?
Why not?
Okay, I always throw it to you first.
I
yeah.
know, right? You're like, let me scramble.
So I
No.
can think about what my 3
think
takeaways are.
I think that the idea that there are 3 different levels of allergy to things. I didn't know. I knew that obviously you're intolerant or you're allergic, but I didn't know there was like sensitivities, a third
Yeah.
one. I think that the sleep is a huge outside factor that we all should be able to control, and
Mhm.
I think we forget about that when we're focusing on what we're eating and working out, like you said. So I think sleep being a huge part, and then I also learning about certain cues that you get to know that you're deficient in things. So I'm gonna have to go take this quiz because I didn't realize that it can affect you on like an outward. I mean, aside from like weight gain and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but in
Very
certain
small
areas
things,
can
yeah.
tell you exactly what's wrong.
Yeah,
which
does it
is
check
really
engine lights.
cool.
Yeah.
My 3 takeaways are one, that mental health can be influenced by your lifestyle choices and by the food that you're eating. That it's a much bigger conversation than just your genetics. I think people think, oh, this is my DNA and that's just how it's going to be, but they don't realize there's the whole epigenetic side of it where your choices actually affect which of your genes. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Second one is that I guess there are 3 different types of food sensitivities and intolerances that I didn't know until I was reading the book. And then the third one is I'm going to have to go home and check my cup size.
That's a great takeaway.
If you learn nothing else,
You learned nothing else.
What are your 3 takeaways?
mine,
Yeah.
from my own conversation.
From your own book, what are yours?
My takeaways are. I was thinking about the sleep when you brought up the sleep. I think that people. This isn't a takeaway because I should have said it earlier. But I love weighted blankets. I love like the Calm app, and I use it when I travel. Like just some noise to break out a thing. And they have different meditation apps, meditations
Is
on
that
them.
healthy to listen to noise when you go to sleep?
Yeah, it does, especially if there's noise in the hotel or something like that.
Okay.
It'll help you sleep longer. But I like the meditation apps too. And the goal is to get away from the apps and technology, just do it yourself. But we can use that as a tool for positivity. Yeah. And there's something, anyway, so sleep improvements there, good thing. Other takeaways, I think that people should really empower themselves to find out where the inflammation levels are. Because look, we talked about some sobering statistics, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is like it's stressing me out, all the health problems out there. But the other side of the coin is there's so much you can do in those cases. And I've seen some really serious cases. I see serious cases on a daily basis when I'm consulting patients. And I've seen those cases improve their life. Doesn't mean everybody's going to be 100%. Everyone's perfectly healthy. But we wield a lot of agency over our wellness in the overwhelmingly majority of cases. So this is really a message of hope. This is a message of self-responsibility to take action on your health, no matter what that means for you, with the access you have and with the budget that you have. Obviously, not everybody can do all the wellness things in the world. But I've seen small, low-cost things like with access to food, things like Aldi and Costco and Sam's Club and Walmart, and people don't have to be rich and famous to start making healthier
Eat well,
choices. And almost all my patients are working class people. And I consult people online, and they're not from the big cities because the big cities have access to these things.
Yeah.
It's normally the towns and the in between that want access to functional medicine. And I know this is realistic for people because I know obviously most of the people that are listening are like, yeah, but I don't live in LA, or yeah, I don't, whatever. Even if I'm in LA, I don't make a lot of money. What can I do? Well, everything in the book is low cost stuff.
So get the book.
So get the book, The Inflammation Spectrum. Find your food triggers and reset your system. It's on sale now. Everybody needs to go order it. Is it available on audiobook?
Yeah, and I read the book. People should appreciate
You
that.
did. I'm an audiobook fanatic, so that's
She
where I'm
always
going.
does audiobooks.
I knocked that thing out in 2 days, not even 2 full days.
Wow.
And it normally takes people like 7,
Yeah.
8 days. I'm like, my throat was killing me.
Would you
by
do
then.
it again?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I would, because I wanted to do it with Ketotarian, and I had a professional reader do the first one. But it was my words. I want to.
I think it
I
sounds
know.
better too because
when
you
you're the author, yeah.
you listen to some and you're like,
I know. I
Who
was
is
so
this
mad. They didn't let
person?
me do the audio version of
We
my
heard
last
yours.
book, and he sounds like a fucking robot. Like
Yeah,
he just
he
like
does.
was horrible. I was
It's
like,
very
oh, fuck.
monotone.
Especially because like I have a lot more personality, so like
And the
certain
way you say
punch, yeah,
things, you
certain
mean
things
it, yeah.
needed a punch,
Like-
and they didn't need to sound like sorry.
You did not make that funny.
Yeah, he did not. Oh my god, thank you. Where can people follow you and keep up with your podcast and with you on the social medias?
At Dr. Will Cole, so DrWillCole, and drwillcole.com is where people can get all the information about functional medicine and my online clinic. And yeah,
You
all
have into supplements.
we do. We launched actually just new supplement pack called Calm Yourself, which is
need that.
yeah, it goes along with the books. A lot of the things I talk about in the book, Calm Yourself, has a blend of turmeric and curcuminoids. This is all like top of the
I
line
take
research.
turmeric.
There you go.
Yeah.
BCM 95 is a specific strand of turmeric that's been well researched to lower inflammation. Some adaptogens, which I love, to help lower stress and cortisol and inflammation. And the third would be these blend of detox supporters. So it's called Calm Yourself. It's a pack, and I'm super pumped about that.
Love it. All right, guys, you can follow me at Just Plain Zack.
And you can follow me at Abigail _AF.
And don't forget to follow at The Adulting Podcast for all the latest show news, and subscribe and listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, Luminary.
Luminary.
We're on Luminary. We still don't know what Luminary is, but we're there. So if you have Luminary, don't forget to leave us a good review. And until next time, we're going to be busy,
#adulting.
and we're out.
You guys are so good at this.
Thank you.